I'm gone. I'm dead. Mark, always with today. Always with today.
Hello everyone from Istria 300 2023 edition. This year I again attempted to finish the 300 kilometer course, and to help me beat last year's time, my friend Clement joined me. We were a bit unlucky with number allocation as we started way back in the starting block 3, and because of it took us more than 7 minutes to even cross the start line. Because of this we decided to push a bit harder in the beginning and try to catch some faster groups in the front.
Kako časa se še splača to loviti, sem jaz spil vedno več te ruknje.
As the sun rose on the horizon, the gaps we were bridging became larger and larger, and soon we realized that we cannot continue in such a way for much longer, at least if we want to have any strength left for the second half of the race.
Greva še na cele te kolone, pa počasi ustaviva.
We decided to settle down in the current group and try to gain some time on the upcoming hills if possible. At the first fit station we just did a quick touch and go, where I just took additional water bottle but didn't actually stop. Soon we reached the first intersection when, after some confusion, we took the right turn to continue on the longest route. As last year, there were 3 courses to choose from: 165 kilometers, 235 kilometers and 300 kilometer option. In total there were 2,500 participants. Not everybody started or at least finished though. 1,400 finished the shortest distance, 500 the middle, and 300 finished the 300 kilometer option. Again, the majority of participants were from Austria, followed by Germans and Slovenians. Following fast descent and flat road at the sea level, we were greeted with the first major climb of the course. We set target of about 250 watts for ourselves and quickly moved forward, gaining several positions before the middle flat section. We continued climbing with our tempo, and not long after we reached the top and, as expected, gained quite a few places.
240 je bilo poprečje, zdaj gor ta hrib. 240.
What followed was one of the most technical descents of the race. Despite being bad at descending, I've begun to notice that I'm getting better and more confident at them. We didn't lose any positions on the descent, and when we reached the bottom we soon caught another group in front of us and continued with fast pace toward the next fit station. Here we decided to take a bit longer break to eat something, grab some gels and go pee-pee. Unluckily the group went away from us here, as we noticed there was no one behind us, so the only option was to sprint to the group ahead. Luckily, at this point I still felt pretty good, so I did a bit harder effort for 2 minutes and we were back in the group. this point the course was the same as last year, but from here on it took upon quite a few different roads, and I guess I wasn't the only one surprised by this, as the whole group here almost went the wrong way. Again, I was pleasantly surprised that there weren't any crashes this year, at least not that I saw any of them. However, there were quite a few punctures that we saw on the way. Luckily, me and Clement didn't suffer any. As we reached the final intersection for the longest route, we were alone again. After continuing for about an hour, we finally caught some people at the top of the hill, so we could take a bit longer rests in the draft. Until this point I felt pretty well, however here all of a sudden I felt really sick and could barely continue, and I'm 90% sure that if I were alone I would just call it quits and wait for the car. I still have no idea what caused all of this.
Is it good to need water? Jaz sem polpet vzal. Polpet? Lepa. Ja, ne vem, bomo videli čez eno uro.
Even the thought of drinking or eating made me sick and I could barely move my legs. Luckily Clement was there to wait for me and pull me back into the group, until after about half an hour, a bit longer rest at the feed station, I miraculously recovered. And just in time, as we were about to reach the hardest part of the race. But before we could go up, we first needed to make it down in one piece.
Have fun. Shimala.
Last year I was already preparing for Ironman at this time, so I wasn't focused on cycling 100%. This year, however, for the last 3 months I was only cycling. I managed to bring my FTP up and weight a bit down compared to the last year, so this steepest section didn't feel as bad as they did last time, and I felt I was flying up there, especially compared to the others.
Okay, I think we are safe for now.
The group again disintegrated here and we continued in 4 through the fastest descent toward the lake, where all 3 distances merged together again. Before I couldn't eat because I was feeling sick. Now I ran out of water together with the rest of the group, so after not eating anything for the last 2 hours, there was only one possible outcome. Just as we reached second to last hill, I banged so hard I began to see stars. Again, I was extremely lucky to have Clement with me, who kept my tempo up and cheered me on as I barely pushed 200 watts toward the top. Luckily there was another feed station on top where we could refuel, and I actually took time to eat pasta. I guess I don't learn fast, but luckily this time there were no bad consequences of me experimenting with food during the course. Sadly, they ran out of water but had some ISO, which was enough to get us going again.
Just a little more.
Clement took the lead again for the next 25 kilometers until I finally recovered enough so I could take few turns in front, but Clement felt extremely well and spent majority of time in front of our 4-man group. In this last section we were basically flying toward the finish line with average speed above 40 km per hour. We even had a motorbike escort in front, so it actually felt like a real race you see on TV. It was really fun. And so, as the sun was settling above the water a bit higher than last year, we reached the finish line in Porridge. Despite two major bunks during the course, I was happy with the result, major thanks to Clement, without whom I could not have finished. Still, we had better time than last year, despite starting from the worst starting section, and if I look at the first half of the race, I really felt great. Hopefully next year I can get the second half under control as well. We already agreed to race again next year. Hopefully we will be able to start from a bit better position and we will be able to fight to reach sub 10 hour result.
Congratulations to the finish from Slovenia, Clement Kubeli, Jani Bizjak, Markus.
As I mentioned it already several times, I really like this race, and for the first half of it I was enjoying it tremendously. The organization is great, though I would love if there would be additional feed station in the second half. The 200 to 250 kilometers are really hard, and I must admit I preferred the last year's energy bars and gels compared to this year's. But still, all in all, I can say it again, this is one of my favorite races of the year. The weather was again great, and I met and chatted with several people around the world, and I cannot wait to do it again next year. So much for now, see you next year.